know there ain't no stopping us. Fly without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glance. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When that's enough, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When that's enough, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be on a Monday night. If you're a Spurs fan, 100 people plus already in the house. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We are live. Guys, everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us. As always, much love from all of us. If you aren't a Spurs fan, you're welcome as well, as always, each and every week. We are closing in on the new season. Our first preseason game this week against Hearts, then QPR, then we fly overseas, then we come back, a few more friendlies, and Bayern Munich in the house. So we're beginning to warm up, plenty to get into. But before we get into Tottenham, before we get into all of that, we are going to discuss the Euros, England, players, Kane. And as you can read from the title of tonight's show, is Kane cursed? We are going to discuss this because he seems to be getting all the blame. And I want to get everyone's view on it. However, we do need to say hello to everyone very, very quickly. So, Mari, brother, back. He's back. Woo!
Central and South America, been away in Peru, Colombia, and Costa Rica. It's good to be back. I was on business/vacation and missing it. But it's good to be back home in Orlando, Florida. I was gutted. I was rooting for England, and gutted yesterday. Also ecstatic and happy because Argentina, the 16-time Copa America champions, we surpassed Uruguay. We have 16 championships. We have the most international titles of any nation, and that's number 45 for Lionel Messi, the GOAT. And I am just on cloud 9 and ecstatic, and Argentina makes me happy. It make me happy. Boca Juniors make me happy. Napoli, Spurs. We'll get to it.
We're going to get on to Spurs. JP, from an Argentina fan to an England fan. How are you?
Man, I don't know what I did in the previous life. It's like Tottenham and England. It's just like...
harsh.
I mean, at the end of the day, what can you say, right? It was unfortunate. Look, listen, like we'll talk about Kane in a bit, but England didn't do enough. They were quite fortunate, I think, to kind of like get to the final. But do you know what it is? You get to the final, and at that point, you've just got to go. And while I understand it was against Spain and stuff, but we'll get into it, I'm sure. But yeah, no, outside of that, segregated myself a bit from football, been doing a bit of DIY and all that stuff. But looking forward to, I know obviously these preseason games are starting, but yeah, let's get it on, man. We're winning the league this year.
It's coming home. Lee, it's not coming home, Lee. How are you?
Well, just feel sorry for all those people that spent thousands of pounds getting tickets and flying over there on Sunday, to be honest. Listen, the better team won. I'm not angry about it, not bitter. I had Spain from the start. They did what they needed to do. They won. There's a million posts flying around TikTok now saying that the goal was offside, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we should have won that. And I'm just like, even if it was offside, can you really see us actually going on and winning that game? Even if it was 1-1 still? Well, I don't think so. But anyway, other than that, great, fantastic. Loving life.
This tournament was a different vibe, Lee, right? There wasn't that much jumped up excitement about it, you know.
It's the first tournament where I've actually spent more. I've enjoyed myself more watching the likes of Turkey and Georgia play than any of the other big teams. It really was. Some of it was really boring. Those guys were playing for their lives, and it made it much, much more enjoyable to watch them than any other team. So, yeah, great.
Baz, how you doing? How's things?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. I wasn't that upset about the England result because I kind of expected it. I was disappointed, obviously. I wanted England to win. But it was a bit like Spurs. It was quite predictable. I mean, you could tell really from the start, from the first game, how Southgate was going to play. Same old problems. He doesn't know his best team. He's some of the players that he left out was just shocking. So yeah, the best team of the tournament won. I didn't actually think it was that good of a Euros. I'm with Lee. I preferred watching the lesser teams and what they were up to than the established teams. I thought Germany actually looked like they had a good young team up and coming, but they just fell short, didn't they? But yeah, apart from that, all good.
Good stuff. Got 200 people watching, guys. Listen, everyone in the chat, hello, good evening. I'm not going to go through each and every one because that's going to take about 15 minutes, but thanks for being here, everyone. We will put your comments up as we go along. Let's get into it. So, for those of you that don't know, but we do know, Spain beat England in the final 2-1. Nico Williams with the opener, Cole Palmer with the equaliser, and Orizabal with the winning goal. The big discussion coming out of this game is questions about tactics and, typical England. But Harry Kane is getting absolutely massacred online, literally getting pelters left, right, and centre. And I wanted to discuss this. There's a few things, right? Let me paint the picture and then we'll go around. Maz, I'll come to you this week and then we'll go around this way, right? His first cup final was against Chelsea when he was a kid. Pochettino just started. We were a shocking team. Poch hadn't really had a chance to replenish the squad or anything, and we played a really good Chelsea team and we lost. Okay, you can say we didn't stand a chance. Then we had the Champions League final where Kane wasn't fit. So is that Kane's fault for declaring himself fit when he wasn't fully fit, or do you blame the manager for playing a player that wasn't fit? Then we had the Carabao Cup final against Man City, where we sacked Mourinho before the cup final, put in Ryan Mason with zero experience, who I was more qualified on that day, up against Pep Guardiola, and then we're blaming Kane. Then he's gone to Bayern Munich, and it's the first season they haven't won anything in 10 years, and everyone's pointing the finger at Kane. But then I look at it and I think, has Kane done his job? He's top scorer almost every other season, 4 golden boots. He scored goals for Bayern Munich. He's done his job. Kane is doing his job. But yet when it comes to finals, everyone's blaming him. Is it fair? Is he cursed? If I look at yesterday's final in isolation, this guy, and I'm not digging him out because he's an Arsenal player. I'm being honest. He's £100 million. He had a shocker. No one's calling him out. They could have won the league this year. They bottled it. Do we blame Declan Rice? Is it Declan Rice's fault? Gareth Southgate did not play to the strength of the attacking players that he's got. We heard him say, oh, we're missing Kevin Phillips. Do you remember that excuse a few weeks ago? Right? What's happened to that? Was that Kane's fault? Then he plays Trent in centre mid. Is that Kane's fault? He then realises I can't play Trent centre mid. Does he play Trent at right back? No, he puts him on the bench. So the best attacking wing back we've got is on the bench. Is that Kane's fault? I just feel that what's happened is, and Maz, you tell what you think. He does his job. He scores goals. You could say he could do more in some finals. But again, Southgate's come out and said he wasn't fit. Why have you picked him then, Southgate? You got Tony. You got Watkins. You got Eze. You got Bowden. You got players. Why did you play him then? So I'm just wondering, is Kane just is he just unlucky? Or is he cursed? Or is he just not good enough? But Maz, where are you at with this? I personally think the criticism on him is unfair. But I see why it's happening. It's because he keeps winning nothing and he's an easy target. What's your take on it?
I'm not sure whether... I'm conflicted because I love Kane. He's been one of my favourite players. He's a Tottenham legend. His statistics, as you've highlighted, there's no doubt that he's one of the best strikers, in the world currently and in the last 10 years, right? There's just no denying that he would get into almost any team. Now, there's got to be a point, right, where some of the good points that you've made become a little bit irrelevant when you're a player of his stature, because you can have other great players like Kane, not Kane specifically, but players like Kane, that in those finals, even as the underdogs, they turn up and they do something. And Kane has had 6 opportunities. I don't buy what you said about Kane being young in his first cup final. I think that's irrelevant. There's been lots of young players playing in cup finals. That young guy from Spain. Yesterday. What?
Lamine Lamar.
16 years old yesterday, or 17.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that
But Maz, isn't that young player for Spain playing in a far better team with far better tactics and approach? Whereas in Kane's first cup final, we go look at that squad. We were shocking.
But Kane's been in a brilliant.
We had Zeki Friars. We had Zeki Friars in that squad.
Kane's been in a brilliant Tottenham team and he hasn't won. Kane was in arguably in a you can debate whether we were a good team, but good team with a bad manager. But he had an opportunity in the last 2 Euros to do something, right? Now I'm with you. There's plenty of good reasons to blame other players, and they are to blame. It's not just him. Where I agree with you is I don't just blame Kane. I blame the whole team. There's players in there that also didn't perform. However, I think it'd be remiss of us just to ignore Kane's lack of. Yeah, he's a captain. His lack of, he has to burden responsibility as well. He's the captain. He's a talisman. He's had lots of opportunities in the past. He hasn't scored and he hasn't created. I think if you ask Kane in isolation, away from the media, he would be honest, I think, and say, yeah, I feel I'm annoyed by it. I'm hurt by it that I haven't performed in these finals. So look, I don't blame Kane, but I also think that he has to take some accountability. And happy clappers like Scott M need to calm down on, you know what I mean? You don't need any of that.
Lee, let me come to you, right? A lot of fans say that Kane doesn't step up in the big moments, and this is where this is all stemming from. But I would counter that by saying the North London derby is the biggest game for Spurs fans and Arsenal fans. It's the one we will look at when the calendar starts. He's the top scorer in North London derbies. How many times has he turned up for Spurs in the biggest game of the season? And fans say, oh, but he missed a penalty against France in the World Cup. But in the Euros, in the final, when it went to penalties, Kane scored his penalty. Did Saka? Did Sancho? So is it a case of, well, actually, Kane does step up in big games, but not every big game? Is that fair, or do you think, no, he just doesn't turn up in big games?
Well, just like we like to work with stats, right? There are stats out there that says that he disappears in big games. But just at one point I'd like to make about this whole Euros. I don't necessarily think this was a striker's Euros. Very little in the way of top quality strikers really did anything in these Euros. And he's just as, he's done just as bad as some of the other nations. Yeah, the only thing I'd say about Kane is that, listen, as an international manager, you've got to have big kahunas, right? You've got to have kahunas to make the right decisions. All this has shown me that this England team has got a load of individuals, but not necessarily a team, and Gareth didn't know how to play them. You have to, if Kane was, I saw from game one, looking at the way Kane plays, something wasn't right with him. He looked off it. He wasn't pushing from the front. He wasn't pressing from the front like he usually does. It's like he was trying to hold back. If Kane was injured, or apparently he's carrying a back injury, which is going to affect anyone. That's one of the worst places, especially with your centre of gravity, etc. You have to ask yourself, is Gareth basically just appeasing the hierarchy because Kane's the captain, he's the talisman, and getting him to play when he's injured, rather than putting someone else in the fray? That all comes from him. That's his responsibility as the international manager. It's as simple as that. But you've got to also say, well, if Kane was really injured, and you could see that after the first game or the second game, he's not making, or he's not influencing like he usually does, then him as a person needs to say, do you know what? Maybe I'm not up to it, and maybe I do need to say, do you know what, Gaffer? I'm not feeling this. I'm not having an influence. Let's give one of the other guys a chance. I know I'm the captain, but we've got to think about the team. We've got to think about the results, not about me, etc. And so he has to take a little bit of the blame, but the blame stems from Southgate. I mean, I just don't think he knows. He just. Kane wasn't. I don't think this team, the way that he's set up, suited Kane as a striker. I don't think it did at all. I really don't. Yep. It isolated him far too much, and for Southgate to be experimenting in the first couple of games is just absolute madness. It really is, and I think it didn't cost us anything, because obviously we still ultimately got to the final, but. And that's a different game to talk about. But it wasn't a good look for us throughout the whole tournament. It really wasn't.
Especially as Southgate has been, England manager for 8 years now. You know, the fact that he doesn't know his team is
That's
just
daft.
utter
That's absolutely
madness,
daft,
isn't it? And uh, uh, it's a bit like there's so many parallels with Spurs, isn't there? You know, you've got this great team of individual players, right? And you know, they're failing to get over the line. And Lee's right. Is Southgate? You know, yeah, you had Eze, you know, to play on the left. Why not play on the left? Why are you playing Trippier as the man and Foden on the left when you got Eze there?
Maz,
You got
the stats don't lie, do they? Right,
no.
8 years, 23 games now against top 10 opponents in international football, and he's only ever won 4 games.
There you go. Yeah,
When
exactly.
it comes
Boys,
to the big
let me-
teams,
You go on, Fish. What were you saying, Lee? Sorry.
I was just saying, when it comes to the big teams, we don't know how to beat them. It's as simple as that.
But just to tap on to Lee's overall point, there was just daft decisions that Gareth made where he had outstanding talent in the squad, and he could have put the players in their natural positions a bit more, and just by doing that, I think the team would have attacked better. But you know, again, Eze, you got Conor Gallagher that didn't get a sniff in the team. You know,
That's my
Foden.
final point.
Gordon.
Final point.
Gordon,
Gordon,
any of
sorry.
them.
Yeah.
Final point.
Mm.
If anyone listened to the match last night, it was 1-1, and you listen to the commentators saying, "Oh, it looks like Trippier and Conor Gallagher are coming on."
Yeah,
Why?
I know, it's crazy.
You're going
crazy.
for it.
So
You're going for a
meant to
game,
say,
and
I meant to say Gordon, not Gallagher.
Yeah.
Just thinking about bloody
And I'm
Conor
like,
Gallagher.
I
But yeah,
turned to my wife
Palmer
and
as
said,
well, right?
I was
Why would you bring
wondering
them on?
about that.
"Why are you bringing them
Let
on?
me come
What
to JP,
do you
guys.
possibly need to do?"
JP, let me come to you very quickly. Thank you, William. Channel member, 15 months. And Jory call in the house. Big up, Jory. He says Kane is cursed for bullying his way into the Champions League final, and Poch is cursed for allowing it. I totally agree with that, by the way. Levy allowed it because he knew he would own Kane after that. Big up, Jory. JP, question I've got for you regarding Kane. People say Kane doesn't turn up in big moments. Spurs haven't turned up for 3 decades as a club. Kane doesn't turn up for big moments for England. England haven't turned up for coming up to 7 decades. So he's not really been in teams where they turn up. The Bayern Munich one, though, I can't defend that. I can't. But for 99% of his career as an England player, as a Spurs player, is he just playing for the Spurs? Is he just playing for the wrong clubs, JP? Because for me, take Morata out of Spain, put Kane in the Spain team, I think this is a different conversation.
100%.
Or is that me being a biased
100%.
Spurs fan who loves Kane because he was great for us?
100%. Like, look, I did. The bottom line is also this Euros tournament is joint goal scorer, right, of the whole tournament. If I'm not wrong,
He scored 3, I think, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure he's the joint goal scorer of the tournament.
Yeah, because
Check it out now.
Right?
I think it's
So-
true.
But that's shocking in itself, though. To be joint top with 3 goals is just it doesn't say good
not
about
great,
the
is it?
tournament, does it?
That's not his fault, right? He's banged a couple of goals. I'm with Lee. The way they played and the way Southgate put that team out, he didn't get that much service, I don't think. He was, and everyone was obviously saying, and we know Kane has this trait in him in terms of dropping back. But he also wants the ball, and he's the one also dropping back, trying to do something that he used to do for Son, like ping it wide and ping it left and ping it right. Back there defending, and I think he's done that for the last 10, 15 years, hasn't he? Suddenly changing things like that, I think it's difficult. So I think the formation absolutely didn't help him in any way whatsoever. Now, from Southgate, what I would say is you have somebody who's scored over 40 goals in that Bundesliga, but you don't play to his strength. But then you sub him, bring on what's his name from Aston Villa, who scored?
Watkins.
You bring on Watkins, yet you play to his strength by playing the ball over the top. And in like the last 20 minutes, it kind of like that bit baffles me. And it is a team game. It's not a Kane game. Kane wasn't the only person on that pitch. Counting yesterday, Foden was missing. Bellingham came as this great big, he's going to hit this tournament. He's a mega star. He's this, he's that. First game, there was little highlights and glimpses of him. Since then, he was quiet. You called out Declan Rice. Didn't do that much. Saka yesterday. Didn't do that much. Like, no one actually did anything. And I find it hard just blaming Kane for it. And yes, of course, I'm a Spurs fan. I've got a soft spot for him and I'll try and defend him where I can. But it's not just him.
But that's I think you've got a good point to say you can't just blame Kane for this, and it's 100% not Kane's fault. However, I think what people are jumping on are two things. One, the stats don't lie that he hasn't scored in the Major Cup final or set anything up for 6 finals now over his career. 2, he hasn't won anything. And 3, it's a continuation of the Spursy jibe, isn't it?
Yeah,
and that's why everyone's jumping on this. We can defend Kane, and we have to high heaven, but unfortunately, those 3 things are always going to be there until he breaks that duck, right? That hoodoo.
To like actually win anything. Because even that Bayern Munich, I think the Bayern Munich one's really, really weird, because I don't know how many people have got 40-odd goals in that Bundesliga, like in a season. And he's even got probably 40-odd goals, and Bayern Munich still haven't won it, right? So, again, it's not him not doing his job.
Do you know what? I've got a question for Murray. By the way, regarding top scorers, it was a 6-way tie. Harry Kane, Spain's Dani Olmo, Germany's Musiala, Netherlands' Cody Gakpo, Slovakia's
all of them was get the award. They changed the rule. All of them.
Georgia's George Mikaduadze. Sorry if I butchered his name. So it's a 6-way tie. So yeah, not exactly
great. The award.
My question for you, and then I'm going to ask everyone a question about England in general. Is Harry Kane a world-class striker, but not a world-class player?
I'm glad you asked me this question because I get to especially when I travel, because I love to, call me crazy, I love to represent my Spurs. I wear my jersey when I'm in Mexico, even when I was in Peru, whatsoever. But even talking to my students and talking to people, it's weird because Harry Kane is a Tottenham legend. Eventually, he's going to come back to the Premier League, and when he does, he only needs a few goals to pass Shearer. So he's going to be a Premier League legend. But on the global aspect, and this is where the truth hurts, I have to be the bad guy here. And some people in the chat are going to get mad, but outside of England, people view Kane as a good striker. But for a big game, and this is where the legends come in, he is not viewed as a guy, I want Kane in this big game. He's not viewed that. He's not. And I can't disagree with him. I highlighted Soldiers' statement because I was just going to talk about that. I am so sorry. My phone.
That's Harry Kane's agent calling you to curse you.
Yeah. So curse me out. And mind you, he's been around Tottenham, right? He's been around Tottenham. That poison coming in regards to, and then no, he plays for a country that since 1966, when the pressure is on, right, and this happened to some athletes in all sports, right, there are those when the pressure is up, they're gonna take the game by the scruff, no matter the sport is, but they show up or they take the game by the scruff. Whereas with Kane, with Soldis' comment right there, he tends to go missing. Yes, he was the leading scorer for Bayern in the Bundesliga, but in those big games, right, especially against Bayern, right, like the games where Bayern needed to win, right, in that race, right, it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. Same thing with Spurs. The games that we needed to win, right, the games where him and Sonny put their head down, right, we remember those games. He didn't show up. It's the truth. And you can put all the excuses that you want, but he doesn't show up. Now, I will say this. For the England team, he should not get the full blame. I got a long list. Phil Foden, I know we're going to talk about that. Is he just a systems player? Bellingham, was he in the right spot, right place? But even the England philosophy, you look at De La Fuente in Spain, he came up from the youth to the national team. And when you have a Rodri out the game, Zubimendi comes in. It's like clockwork. They know the system. Whereas with England, it's just like you got a defensive-minded, pragmatic coach. We have one of our best offensive talent. If we believe that, because Declan Rice, right? People want to say he was the second best DM or midfielder in the world behind Rodri. Really? Have you seen Declan Rice?
Murray, does Harry Kane go missing, or does the team he played for go missing?
Yeah, and that's why we need to take off the Spurs glasses. I mean, I've seen people put up, Kane's world-class striker, world-class everything. Well, how many trophies does he have? And name me the big games where
Murray, hold on.
No,
my question.
Listen, name me the big games where, right, because he showed when the pressure is off, right, because people say, okay, what about that game against Manchester City? We were favored to lose, so there was no pressure. We were the underdog. I'm talking about when we are favored, right? When the pressure's on. When does he show up? And I can name you a list of athletes in other sports who are the same boat as Harry Kane. The James Harden in the world, the Dallas Cowboys, right? Always making the playoffs to get a lot of wins. They pad up the stats. When the pressure comes, they fold like a dollar bill. So I'm just telling the honest truth, right? From an outside perspective, right? When you talk to other people, football-knowing people outside of the UK and outside the Spurs kingdom, they'll tell you the truth about Harry Kane. But the problem is, we're too sheltered. They don't want to hear the truth. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest.
So, Murray, this logic means then Saliba's not class because France bottled it and Arsenal bottled it. So we can't put him as a class player.
He's not world class yet. I agree with you. Saliba's not world class yet. He's not world class. Right. In my book, and you don't have a strict. Well, here's the thing.
So are we you must win a trophy to be world class. Is that
I said this a year ago. You know what? He is world class because everybody's world class now. Legends. I have a different category. And the legends are Messi, Maradona, Pele, Zidane, Cruyff, right? That's legends. So Harry Kane is world class. He's not a legend, global legend of the game. He's a Spurs legend. He's going to be a Premier League legend, but he's not. I have a very strict and people because for me to be a legend, you have to, for club and country, show up for your team, and that's it. I have a very strict criteria for what is a legend in my book. because everybody's world class, apparently.
Let me quickly super chat here from Eugene, who says can't complain about a lack of trophies while defending captain and world-class player for contributing to that, but not when it matters. I can when 11 players make a team, not one. Eugene, I know you're doing this. You always, if I say blue, you say red. If I say chicken, you say dog. If I say up, you say down. This is the classic Eugene.
Thanks for the super chat.
Look, you're allowed your opinion. Big up for you for having your opinion, but I can judge a team always failing and not blame one component. Look, England have 24 players they took out there, and we're saying blame Kane because he's the captain. Who's the captain of Arsenal? Who's the captain of Arsenal? Is it Declan Rice?
No, it's Odegaard.
Odegaard wasn't the minute.
He's not class because he's the captain. He never got them over the line 2 years in a row. So I just think, but I know Odegaard's good. I know Saliba's a class defender. I just think that take Messi out of Barcelona, the best Barcelona team you've seen with Xavi, Iniesta, Eto'o, Puyol, Pepper's manager. Would Messi have won what he's won? I don't know.
Well,
I don't.
Well,
He's a world player because of what he did at Barcelona, but that is the greatest team. You know, that Barcelona team, half of them won the World Cup for Spain. So,
yeah, but
David Villa, since Man City, Haaland. Am I right in saying Haaland won nothing at Borussia Dortmund? Am I right in saying that? Erling Haaland, did he win anything at Borussia Dortmund? I can't remember.
No. Well, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought up Erling Haaland because
he goes to Man City. Now he's the best striker. You're in the best team.
He can't even get Sweden to the World Cup. That's why I said people rush too much. Football now is totally different than football back then, where now everybody plays within the system, right? Where back then, players had the freedom to be able to show out their talent. That's why you just saw the Euros, right? Right, 3 goals, right? Is the most goals, right? Like literally, the quality has gone down because the players, they're so used to a system and how they play. I forget who was talking about it. He just explained it so well because the quality standard of strikers now is not like back then. That's why there's not too many strikers available now. Just telling you the truth. Let alone the quality of football. Everybody loved what Spain did because Spain is playing football the way football is supposed to be played. Now, going back to Messi, Messi's had those moments where the Copa del Rey, even the Champions League against United, he's had those moments where he's put the team on his back. That's what makes Messi so great. I mean, he scored 2 goals.
Put the team on his back. Look at the team. The team was outstanding.
Oh, okay. Well, to England, right? If England, right, has all these stars, right? Foden, Bellingham, Rice, whoever, right? So there should be an excuse. Right now, I'm not saying all of it should be okay.
Then I would counter that by saying, and guys, feel free to jump in. Kane went off after 60 minutes. When all these other players came on for 30 minutes, what happened?
Yeah,
yeah, but I think it's a bit pointless though to argue this one game about him in isolation. It's about the 6 finals in their entirety, and why didn't he turn up in all of those 6 finals? Because he didn't play well in any of those games. So the question is why is he not playing well? I mean, it's one thing that the team playing bad, but him as an individual, he wasn't playing well.
Okay, so this is why, guys, 1 second. This is why, Murray, this is why I say I think he's a world-class striker, not a world-class player. Because he played badly, he's still joint golden boot. Whatever we think about Kane, take my bias away as well. I'm being biased, right? Take my bias away. Top scorer in Germany, top scorer for England, top scorer for Tottenham, golden boot everywhere he goes. Golden boot again in this tournament. As a striker, he is elite. as a player, world-class player, I don't put him in that category. I don't. So do you think it's fair, guys, to say he's a world-class striker but not a world-class player?
No,
Would you
I
disagree
think,
with
I
that?
think,
No.
yeah, I
No,
don't know
no.
if you can. I don't know if you can differentiate between the two like that. I don't know if you can say, "Oh, you're a world-class striker, not a world-class player," because, as we've said, he'll get into most teams, right? But it's what separates let's say the winners and the losers in a sense. I know it sounds as brutal as that
So he's a
sounds.
world-class
Right?
loser.
Well, he's not one. But as bad as that, it sounds very negative, and I don't intend it to be. But as bad as that sounds, is that it's not that he hasn't got the skill, or he can't score goals, or he can't break records, because he has done that. But in the clutch moment, he's not clutch.
It's not clutch. And Maz,
And that's the problem, isn't it?
Maz, let me add on to it, right? And there was a game.
Is he getting the service, Mark? Is
Oh,
Kane getting the service in these games?
I'm going to bring this up. There was a game where we lost in the Europa League where the manager of the other team was in prison. All we needed was one goal to advance. And I remember that game being dejected. Who were we playing against? What was MS? Wait, no. What was the name of the team that we lost in the
Dynamo Kiev.
Yeah, where we lost, right? And we were the better team, right? We were the better team. And we could have scored one goal, right? We let some former Arsenal rejects score 2 goals or a hat trick, and we were eliminated. That was with Jose. We couldn't score not one goal. Harry Kane played that game because I remember his head was down, along with Sonny and everybody else. Mentality. I saw his face yesterday and the rest of the England players. Mentality. What separates the legends from the good players is mentality. Is that mentality that you're going to win. Not everybody has it. Everybody thinks you automatically get it, right? That's why I respect the Messi's and Ronaldo's, right? Because they're freaking insane. They're crazy.
Murray, again, I go to the clubs Messi's and Ronaldo's have played for. Those clubs, Argentina won 3 World Cups. Ronaldo played for Real Madrid and Man United, 2 clubs that have got the mentality of winning. Barcelona, mentality of winning. England have been losers for 70 years. Spurs have been losers for 30 years.
Okay? Bayern. That's
the one. Murray, I agree with you here, though. But this one, I agree. I did say this is the one I can't defend. I can't defend the Bayern thing. I can't.
I mean, Bayern Munich, is that gold standard behind Real Madrid for winning pedigree.
But don't you think, though, if Kane stays at Bayern Munich for 3 years, he's going to win something?
It's a bench you have to. It has to fall on his lap. If he doesn't win next season, then you know what? I believe it's a curse. I believe it's a curse because he has to win next season. He has to with Bayern. Seriously.
Yeah. So look, soon as he wins trophies, he's gonna be fine. All of this will go away.
I'm going to ask you all a question about England. Very quickly, Eugene Park says, I won $500 betting that England would crap out in the finals. Thank you, England, for not letting me down. Mate, enjoy that money. I did have a scare when Park scored. That boy's nice. Future looks good for England, though. I agree. The future does look, as long as they get the right manager needs to take over, though. That's the only sticking point. But let's see what happens. Let's see if Southgate stays or goes. God knows. Quick question for everyone. Who was your standout player for England? Maz, let's go around. If you had to pick up one player for England, who was your standout player?
I really like that Mainu young chap in the centre. I was really impressed with him. I mean, in the final, he didn't really do that much, but all things considered, I was looking at him and I was thinking, this is what I was hoping Basuma would be.
Maz, oh my God. I put it on Twitter and I put it on our channel. I said, Kobe Mainu, he's showing everything that we were hoping Basuma would do. The backlash was sensational.
Look, it's not. I'm not suggesting that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, how? What have you seen was better? Mine was-
I'm not suggesting that he's more
Playing centre
skillful
midfield
than
for England.
Basuma or anything like that. But, over that tournament and what I saw of him, he was excellent. I thought it was really good. So that's my pick anyway.
Kobe Minu. Lee, who's your pick?
So for me, I think the standout player, which is probably the position we were all worried about, and even players, commentators were worried about. I think Guehi had a solid tournament. I think he did well against Spain yesterday, apart from not being backed up when the mail was going inside of him. But other than that, the rest of the tournament, I think he was solid, and I think he's deserves the praise. Really good, and now it looks like there's a few teams putting a price tag on him and coming in for him now. Liverpool, one of them, apparently, but I won't take with that. I take that with a pinch of salt, social media, all that kind of stuff.
It's not a bad shot, actually. JP, who's your man?
Yeah, no, I think I kind of like Gaze. He did have an awesome presence, and he kind of got to a hell of a lot. But personally, I quite like that Cole Palmer, because whenever he came on, he seemed to kind of like impact the game. He kind of took the game on to people. I think like I have a personal spot for that, like Phil Foden, because I do love the way he plays. Like he is almost like a kid playing football on a playground. But kind of, I think that first half against kind of like the Dutch, he was like sensational, but throughout the whole tournament, probably patchy. But like I quite like Cole Palmer when he came on. I have to say, he kind of almost made things happen. He came on, he impacted the game in like a positive way, and what a goal yesterday!
Yeah, it was a good strike. Murray, who's your England standout player?
I would say between Kobe and Gay were probably the two, in my book, standout players, because there weren't expectations on them. The midfield somewhat changed when Manu came in. Much better than Gallagher. And Gay, those questions about center backs, he played well. I think he played much better than Stones in my book. And I'll probably give an honorable mention to this guy. When the very few minutes he played, he had assists, he had a goal. Cole Palmer.
And that's the frustrating thing. And I think Maz or Lee mentioned it earlier, is the fact that Southgate got to this tournament and he was still trying his system out.
It's
Which players would be
It's
fitting in which, and it took him to
and-
game 3 or whatever it was to work out that Mainoo would be really good.
I just it's just beggars belief that Eze didn't play more, or what's his name?
Anthony
The
Gordon.
Newcastle.
Gordon.
Yeah,
Did he
Anthony
get any
Gordon, that's
minutes?
it. I keep forgetting his
Did
name.
Gordon get any minutes?
Logan, I don't think came on at all.
And he wasted
Trent.
time with Trent Alexander-Arnold in the centre of midfield, and then he dropped him, and he didn't play him in his natural position after that. He let a knackered Walker play, right, where he was like gassed out for large parts of the game.
Walker, mate. I'll tell you what, Walker, for me,
yeah,
I think
he
he's done.
reverted back to his old ways, if you remember,
He's
before
done.
he became good. But let's move on to talk about Spurs, because we've done this topic now with England. They lost.
Just for the record, my standout player I thought was Pickford. I don't remember him putting a foot wrong. I thought he had a really good tournament.
No one cares about your standout player still. All right.
And if it
I
is,
know. I just want to feel like I fit in.
newcomer.
I just want to feel like I'm part of the team. That's all, anyway.
Last question I want to throw out there. Is Southgate's job safe now because he got the team to the final?
Nah, man, he's got to go.
I mean,
I think it's up to him. I think if he wants to stay,
I think he'll.
if he wants to leave, he'll
He'll
leave.
say he's had enough, won't he?
I hope so. He's rubbish.
Yeah.
Don't rate him. He had the easiest run into the final again. Spain had to beat the French, the Italians, the Germans, and who did England play? Slovakia, Denmark. Come on, man. Come on. Again, they had an easy run, I think. Like, was it Lee that said 23 big teams, Southgate's beaten 4? Or some stat like that he said earlier on. I mean,
Yeah, stats against big teams.
all right, let's get on to Spurs. It slightly touches on England, but there's a reason. Cole Palmer, a few of you said he was your standout player. Is he better than anyone we've got in the front three, except for
Yes.
The reason I ask is, I said, and I got slammed. You don't rate Brennan Johnson. Richarlison had a good season. And I said, hold on a minute. Cole Palmer was one of the top scorers in the Premier League. But most of those goals are penalties. Did you see what he did last night? When does Richarlison, Solomon, Kulu, Brennan Johnson, in a big game like that, done what Cole Palmer did last night? I don't remember it.
I would give.
He was awesome, but towards the back end of the season for Chelsea, wasn't he?
He was absolutely.
He walks into our team, right? Cole Palmer walks into the.
Oh, easily. I would give half our squad for Cole Palmer right now. Half our squad for Cole Palmer.
Another one. So we've been talking about we definitely need number 6 at Spurs. Who should we get? We've been talking about all sorts of players. Palini is one that we mentioned, but he's off to Bayern Munich. We're not going to compete with Bayern Munich. But we did mention Zubimendi, who plays for Real Sociedad. Now, again, when we mentioned him, we don't know what we're talking about. You don't know football. Rodri, the star man of Spain, comes off last night.
Yep.
Zubimendi comes on.
And bosses the whole game.
Nothing changes. They're still cooking. They're still running the game. Like,
Can I say this, Sal? He's not getting a lot of credit because he could easily been named player of the tournament. Fabian Ruiz was amazing from game 1 to game. Fabian Ruiz. I mean, if I'm City, I'm trying to pull this guy and put him together with Rodri because when they're together, that midfield is that. I mean, you're not messing with that midfield.
Would you guys take Zubimendi at Spurs? Would you take?
Oh yes.
Yep. 100%.
100%.
And only based on that 45 minutes I've seen of him, yes.
Real Sociedad this year have actually been really good in Spain, and he's been unbelievable for them. I just don't understand how we think Bissouma is going to be the answer when he's clearly not a tick.
Well, Bissouma, as I said in previous weeks, right? Bissouma's had his chance for me. He's had his chance. I mean, it's for me, it's done.
And that's his thing about us holding on to players too long, right, man?
That's it. Yeah, he's had his chance. He's inconsistent at Spurs for whatever reason. There's talks about his attitude, or he's got outside interests rather than concentrating on his football. If that's rumours or not, well, I don't think we'll ever know. But that's the rumours that are coming out. He's had his chance. We should be moving on, but we won't. We'll hold on to him for another 3 years, and there'll be fans in 2-3 years' time saying, "Oh yeah, we can still get tune out of him if we find the right manager," and all this sort of nonsense.
Next year, he's had injuries. Next year will be better.
Zubimendi for me is better than Bissouma. He's better than Pape Sarr. He's better than Skip. He's better than Højbjerg. All them 4, he surpasses all of them, and he proved it. In a big game, all the pressure was on him when Rodri went off. Even I remember the English commentator was saying on BBC was saying, "Oh, and you got to, England got to fancy themselves now. This is a big moment for England. Rodri goes off." Oh, really? Okay.
It was big, oh my God, Rodri's not come out yet. Hold on. Rodri's not come out yet. Well, I can't see his number. He's not out yet. Oh my God, Rodri's out.
It's like.
Amazing.
2 other players I want to talk about. Copa America, Romero for Argentina was.
That's a Romero. That's such a Romero picture, isn't it?
Let me tell you.
I mean, he's won. Was it 4 major trophies now with Argentina?
Yeah. Let me.
He's got. If he's a serious, and he's obviously a serious player, but if he's got ambition.
Real
right?
Madrid.
Then he's not going to stick around at Spurs. He needs to move to a bigger
He's
club.
gone, baby.
Last
Yeah.
night's game and the tournament, because Argentina had the best defense throughout the tournament. Colombia was the highest scoring team in both tournaments, the Euros and Copa. And in the first half, Colombia should have really, I'm being honest as an Argentine fan, if Colombia was going to win the game, it had to be the first half. They had the chances. But there was just some amazing tackles, amazing clearances by Romero and Martinez. And, of course, Martinez, the keeper, he's one of the best in the world, especially when it comes to international play. I made 4 big saves. But yeah, no, Romero, I mean, when he's surrounded by, you're some Montiel, you're surrounded by, Martinez, you're surrounded by the Cunas, the Molinas, and you have a structure, he's going to play his role. Intercepting.
Well, we saw it when he had Van der Ven next to him this season. He had a good season, right? He played well because he's got a more competent defender next to him.
The only thing, Maz, because there were parts of times we talked about this, but he was technically a de facto CDM. If we could
get attacker and everything.
If we could get a proper CDM to protect him and Van der Ven, then we're talking.
I swear, man. I honestly swear, I'm sure he's got more goals than Timo Werner.
Yeah, he does, I think.
Unbelievable.
Listen, I'm sticking to my guns on Romero. I'm absolutely adamant that he's gone. Dragusin was his replacement.
What, this
Phillips is the backup.
I said that, Lee, right?
Why would Dragusin come to us over? Where was he supposed to be going? Is it Bayern as well? Yeah. Why would he come to us to be told you're going to be basically sitting on the bench if he was that good and wanted to go to Bayern? That was preparation. That was preparation for the inevitable.
Because Big Ange will say anything that the club wants him to say because he's a yes man.
Mate, Dragusin playing in a high line Romania looked shocking. Yeah. When Romania were deeper, he looked like a centre half proper. One of those players could win you games. As soon as they pushed up and teams were allowed to play him behind, he looked a disaster.
But
he looked good at some points. To be fair, but I know what you're talking about. There was
Belgium tore him to pieces. You got absolutely.
But is that necessarily his fault, or is it the stress of playing that type of system? I mean, we saw it with Ange, right?
Well, it's the system. That's what
but it's parallel with Spurs and other teams that play that system. Is that you put really good, what I believe as individuals, good players, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro. You make them play that high line, and all of a sudden they're exposed and they look useless. So it's, don't know. I think it's the tactics that are causing it.
Except Van der Ven, the only player in the world that can play this system.
Yeah, we had to buy him, otherwise the system wouldn't work.
He still shipped in 68 goals.
That's why we paid 45 million, because it's like, if I don't have this one player, that's it. We're done for.
Unbelievable. Staying on Argentina and the Copa America. Oh, yeah. Again, he's turned up for Argentina. The only time he's ever fit. And his assist was sublime, by the way. One touch in behind. It was a fantastic.
I said last season, I said I was done with Lo Celso purely because he's always injured for us. If he only could stay fit, and if he stayed fit and we actually gave him a chance, why on earth Ange decided to drop him after he scored, was it 2 goals and he had 2 assists as well in 2 games, and then he dropped him, right? It's beyond me. And it's probably why he probably faked injury just to stick his fingers up at the club.
As much as I love all Argentinians, Man, I'm done with Lo Celso.
It's time for him to.
Yeah, at
it's the same as
Spurs, he's
thingy,
pointless.
Maz. It's time
No,
for him
he's
to
done
move
at
on, man.
Spurs. He's pointless. Yeah, I agree. I don't want him at Spurs, but if we rewind back time and everything was different, he could have been a brilliant player for us. He could have been because he's
You
got
can
the
see him
talent.
going to
he's got
another
the
team
skills.
now and just flourishing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he had a short time with Poch. He had a short time with Poch, to be fair, but
No,
I think
Mourinho.
it's-
He played well under. I think, wasn't it? It was Mourinho.
Mourinho, yeah.
I think a player like Lo Celso is the difference,
what
the
I meant.
mentality difference between playing for your country and playing for a club. That you've got no.
Good point, Lee.
Yeah.
The Latin American players tend to like absolutely adore playing for their country. above
Countries first, isn't it? 100%
Well,
countries
I
first.
could explain this. I could explain this. I went on me and Ash did this show on one of the channels, and what people don't understand, the Euros, right? You can have an opportunity where you're playing. England's playing Estonia, and there's not a huge rivalry or hatred, right? Where as in Copa America, right? You're playing against your brother, like, and you hate your brother. Literally, you have like Argentinians who live in Colombia. You got Colombians who live in Argentina, and vice versa, Peru, Ecuador, and even look at my friends, social media. Some pulling for Colombia stuff. Like it is war within the family. That's why it's so physical. There was a lot of yellow cards, a lot of red cards in the tournament, and so when you win the Copa America, even the team that wins, you're beat up because it's war. Even when you play the lesser teams, the Venezuela, who did a shout out to them, they went the furthest that they have ever gone in the tournament because Venezuela is probably one of the worst football playing nations in South America because they're known for baseball, but they play great. But it's war, it's bragging rights because in that region, I mean, it's pure hatred. It's brother against brother and respect. Whereas in Europe, it's so spread out, all the way to Turkey, Russia stuff. Not saying that the nations don't take it seriously, but in South America, and it's the oldest tournament, it means more. It is a fight, and so that's how I explain Copa America, and that's why it's so intense. And yesterday's game was intense, and even the Uruguay. Everybody see the fights between the fans, Uruguay versus Colombia and stuff like that. It's sad, but it's also normal because it's intense.
That's how much it means.
Sounds like 1980s England.
Yeah, maybe what we should do, we should have like the Copa UK, maybe let like the Isle of Wight and Jersey or something, Guernsey in, and then maybe England will win something.
They used to have that, didn't they?
Imagine
Like
North and South.
Nations Cup or something.
North and South.
And I'm not to say there's no rivalries, Germany versus Italy and they play, but it's really tough to explain because, like I said, like you could, if you don't know a person well, you can mistake a Peruvian for Ecuadorian, and an Ecuadorian for a Colombian. It's really a fight against brothers. It's
Mario, I get it. The Five Nations rugby's like that. England versus Scotland, Ireland, France, Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's war. It's like literally war, and people take it really personal. I mean, it's just
maybe in Europe they're scared to properly go to war because it will end up in World War III because every war starts in Europe. Maybe
yeah.
Canada did well, didn't they?
Yes, Canada's surprised. A big up, Scott up. Canada went far, so they beat Argentina. But no, Canada did well, and United States was horrible. That loss to Panama, they had to fire the coach. What's his name? I forget his name now. Yeah, had to be fired. And I know it's a long shot getting Klopp, not happening, but we were expected to win our to at least get up our group, finish second behind Uruguay, and advance at least in the Copa America. It was just atrocious, literally atrocious about the United States.
You'll be pleased to hear, Mari. I was listening to the radio earlier in the car, and they were saying that some of the places that Southgate would have that would be a good fit, and one of them was the USA team.
That would be horrible. We tried to steal Canada's coach, Jesse March. I know he didn't do well with Leeds, but Jesse March has changed Canada. Canada was playing a little bit more free and open. Are we going to talk about Jonathan David? It's not David, it's David. We're going to talk about him because I've seen rumors that we are linked.
Let me put it back onto Spurs.
Yeah.
Two players I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to link it back to what Spurs are doing because I'm completely confused. So Troy Parrott, who was the Harry Kane replacement, has now been sold to the Dutch team for £6.5 million or 8 million euros. Jed Spence, who's meant to be the English Maldini, he's on his way out at some point. We've brought in Bergvall, who hasn't played for us yet. We've brought in Ashley Phillips, who trains with us but doesn't play with us. He went out on loan. We've got Dane Scarlett, who's still hanging around. Langshire's been given a 5-year contract, but he's been sent out on loan. Mikey Moore, we can't loan out because he's not 18 yet, so he's going to have to stay at the club. Some say he's going to get minutes. I'm telling you he's not. We've signed...
well, you got minutes the other day, so you're wrong there still.
Yeah, pre-season, we'll get time. Don't remember David players like that got to run out as well.
Do you not think the Lancashire contract, though, is just so that we can get money for him?
Absolutely, yeah. They've got no plan for him.
No.
No, they haven't. Then you've got we've signed Archie Gray for 40 million, but when you do all the numbers crunch back and forth, players going the other way, it's about 25, 30 million.
Generational.
Well, he's going to be the next. Well, apparently he's going to be our future right back or centre defensive mid. I don't know. He plays in lots of positions apparently. And then we've signed this Feeney guy, 16-year-old.
Yeah, but he's only a kid though, isn't he? He's like.
Yeah, but this is where the transfer business has been done. So, guys, we bring in players, we hype them up, then we get rid of them. We're bringing a new crop who haven't played for us. We're hyping them up again. We've got no idea what they're going to do. Whilst we're doing this, it looks like Project Youth. Ange said we're going to win challenge for the league next season. So when I ask fans, what is going on? Is it Project Youth or is it we're going to win the league next season? Fans say both can be true at the same time. Okay, so if we do Project Youth, we have to wait for that to flourish in 3-4 years' time. But if the other part of what can be true, we're going to win the league next season with what players? It's not going to be these kids.
It can't be.
Signing anyone.
It can't be Project Youth, though, can it?
Well,
it can't be.
It can be for the future. They're doing it now for the future.
But we've always done this.
But this is different.
Why is it different?
It's always different.
No, why is it different?
It's different.
No, why is it different? Explain. Come on. Maz, he's not explaining himself, is he? I think he needs to expand.
I think you need to expand on it.
Yeah, I think you do. No, come on.
I don't think it's different, which is why I brought up Parrott and Spence. But if it is going to be different, two things have to happen. One, forget the under-21s and what the journalists and the ITKs and all the channels who are one of the mouthpieces for the club say. They haven't got a clue what any of them are talking about in this. The under-18s, that squad, 2 or 3 from that bunch in a couple of years' time. Mikey Moore being the standout one. That's possible. But it's the current under-12s, 13s, 14s in 5-6 years' time where we're really going to get the benefit of...
Still, I'll tell you why you're wrong, right? Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Wait. This is assuming Simon Davies stays, which this week they said he's turned down an offer to join Wales coaching staff under Craig Bellamy. He wants to stay at Spurs Academy director. That's a good sign. And if whoever the future manager is after Ange, it's the same mold of style. So it's got to be like a De Zerbi. It's got to be a Poch. That level of style of football, so that the philosophy of the academy matches the first team.
Continues, yeah.
Big ifs. Yeah. These are big ifs. But if that happens and it changes, we won't know for 5-6 years.
Yeah, and we have to rely on unknowns that typically never quite work out with Spurs. And in 5 years, we might go for another 3 managers, typically at Spurs.
Is going to get proper minutes next season though.
It looks like.
Look, we've been through this before. So many young players that were meant to be the next big thing and they never turned out good, and it's just a load of nonsense, isn't it? It's just the same old stuff happening all over again.
Based on the signings so far, you would have to lean towards this Project Youth, right?
Well, no, I'll tell you why. Because it's antithetical to what Andrews said from the beginning. He says that he's a winner. He says that he's here to win things, right? He's repeated that all through the season. He's basically said that we need to win at all costs, regardless of who we're playing. He says that he's here to build a winning mentality and a winning team. Well, why are you buying little kids then to do that?
I think irrespective of what he's saying, what we can see with our eyes looks
and what we can see with our eyes, JP, is that he doesn't have full control of what the club is doing, as what he alluded to that he has, right, in terms of who comes in and out, right? And he's a yes man for the Project Levyland, basically, until the next manager comes in, because these aren't players for him now. Unless Gray comes in and Bergvall comes in and they're like absolutely superstars, and we're the only club in the world that notice that these two players are superstars, then I'll believe it when I see it.
That is possible.
Yeah, anything's possible. I mean, we may challenge for the league this year, but is it actually going to happen? I mean,
if you ask Maury,
we did for 10 games last year, Maz.
I still thought we were going to win the league after 10 games. So
I'd be so silly. Listen to this fraudulent.
I'm going to take this line from Alex, box office. I'm so bored. Like, for me, I'm struggling. Like, I want to be positive, and I'm struggling. Like, the positive thing, maybe Bergvall. I get to see Bergvall. Maybe I get to see this kid Gray or whatsoever. But I'm struggling because we haven't even started the season, and I already feel that it's over. Like for me, and I hate feeling that way. I'll be honest.
Windows not shut yet, Murray. The window's not shut.
I know, but I still feel like it's over.
Business yet. There's been a couple of signings that are half decent, like Onana apparently is going to Villa. I know Villa signed another decent player.
Great signing for Villa. Very good signing.
I think he would have been a good signing, you know.
Some people don't rate Zerkey.
Yeah. The first game's going to come, and of course, season, and I'm going to be excited. But I'm just being honest. There's a little bit of part of me that just says, like, all right, it's for me, if they came out and said that we're going full-blown youth project, then I know what to expect. Okay, maybe we can unearth, maybe Mikey Moore could be, Cole Palmer type or whatsoever. At least then I know that if we finish 8th or 9th or 7th with these kids, then I know. But when I see confusion where you got Big Ann say, "Oh, we're going to challenge," I'm like, okay, look who we're interested in, look who we're signing, and people keep telling me about Eze, we're gonna sign Tony. I don't see that happening. I have to see it to believe it. And I don't.
Murray, I've been saying this from the start. Everyone thinks that this summer is going to be blockbuster. We're going to sign all these quality players and we're going to sell the rubbish players. And as far as I can see, we've got such a big job to clear out the dead wood,
exactly.
right, that no one wants. I don't see much movement happening at Spurs. Robert Yee in the comments, right? I mean, fans really need to stop doing this. Managers should manage the expectations of the board and the fans, right? And no, I don't expect him to say, no, I've got no control over anything, right? But what he can say is that we're part of a team that assesses all the players that come in and out and we have a long-term strategy, not turn around to me and tell me a different story every week, dependent on the result he gets as a manager. One week we're going to challenge for the title. The next week he needs to reassess the whole squad. The next week we need to, the fans need to check themselves in terms of what we want to win, and our mentalities. I mean, he's done such an awful job in terms of managing everyone's expectations because he just won't shut up. And he doesn't know what he wants because we've gone from him fixing our mentality as a club in terms of our attacking football to now buying hundreds of young kids to come in instead of actually resolving the issues in our first 11 that we need to do and actually building a squad with proper depth. And what does he do? Buys Turbo Wiener. So it's like, what is this nonsense that people just keep regurgitating? It's like every month people like get zapped with Men in Black little like memory tool. And it's like,
Neuralizer. It's a neuralizer.
Yeah.
My issue with this all is that, and I said it on Savage Channel last night, we must sign proven, established players, not just one or two, but 3 or 4. That's just for now. And the reason is, number one, we are desperately in need of experience in the striker role, in the wide forward area role, and in the number 6 role. We don't have any proven, talented experience in those roles. We desperately need it. That's so that we can compete for next season at the same level because we're playing 2 games a week next year. So we need that anyway. Secondly, how do you convince the Romeros, the Van der Vens, the Vicarios, the Poros to stay at this club if you're signing Archie Grays, if you're signing Turbo Wieners, if you're signing Finneys, and they're going to do what?
And Johnsons and
exactly. They're going to Carrick did what? Modric, Berbatov, Kane. They look around. And see you
Romero's coming back from winning the Copa. Walk in first day. What's Timo doing here? I thought he was on loan and he left.
And
we brought him back. What?
If you just count the volume of problems that Spurs need to resolve.
There's one more reason why we need to sign proven talent, and that is this. If we don't sign it, why on earth did we sabotage building Poch a dream team? We didn't buy players for 2 years, sending the fans to Wembley for 2 years, putting ourselves in £800 million of debt to build the stadium. Why did we do all that if we're not going to do it? Because we could have done Project Youth at the old stadium. So for me,
because they make it up as they go along still. That's why. Because Poch was an accident, right? And they didn't intend for that to happen, right? They're reactionary, right? The only thing they plan for is infrastructure and building. They don't plan for football. All they want is just to be top 4. That's why.
Sorry, Anton Pollard, who is available for these positions? Ivan Toney up front, Eze out wide, Zubimendi number 6. There you go.
There's so many issues that
pay the money.
The first 11 needs fixing, right?
You've got
Chicken Royale you got Chicken Royale we need to get rid of, right? So Porro can have a proper
even
backup,
that's like
right?
dragging on, isn't it?
We need to get another central defender because we're one injury away from Ben Davies coming in, right? We need to get another covering left back for Udogie, right? Because we haven't got left back because Sessegnon's gone, right? So that's 3 players we need, right? We need another backup goalkeeper, assuming that we're not going to promote one of the youngsters, right? Because we're one injury away from Ben Foster coming into the team. We need 2 central midfielders because Bissouma and Højbjerg isn't playing, right? We need another attacking midfielder because you know that Maddison's going to get injured 2-3 months into the season because that's what he always does for the last 6 years in a row, right? Son is an old man now, right? I've been going on about this for 3 years. We've got no contingency plan for Son getting old, right? And he's on the decline, right? You've got Solomon who's likely going to get injured again and we won't see him again, right? You've got Turbo Wiener who can't shoot that we need to resolve. You got Ben Johnson who's the same. You got Kulusevski who's the same. I mean, that's about 8-9 players that we need to cycle out of the team to fix the first 11, and yet we're buying kids.
I'm all for Project Youth, if they that's what they're going to do, and they get real with it, and they say, look, we're going to take some hits. We're going to finish 7th, 8th, 9th for 2 years in a row doing this, but in year 3/4, that's when we reap the rewards, and then we've got these players for the next 5, 6 years. But even then, as Liverpool have shown, and as Arsenal are showing, you need to bring in those Van Dijks, those Alissons, those Declan Rices to push it to the next level. That's the bit that's the problem at Spurs. Like, I don't believe in the criticism. Levy doesn't spend money. That's bullshit. We spend money. We spend it badly. Instead of buying 3 or 4 top players, we've got to sign 6 or 7 every window.
But
this window, we've signed 3 players. By the end of August, I bet you we sign 8. I bet you we end up with 8 players.
But even though he's spending the money still, it's not that, like you were saying, like kind of like he does spend money, or he kind of like we do spend money. But it's just strategically spent, isn't it? As opposed to buying 1 player, they'll buy 5 kids or 8 kids. So it's not really Levy's spending the money. He's basically in a casino, right? So he's buying 8 chips.
Players that are on cheap, like Bissouma, we only got him because he had a year left of his contract, 25 million. We got Timo Werner because it's a loan deal. But the point is, rather than buying those 3 or 4, just get 1. Just get Eze done. Just get Eze at Spurs, and it improves us. Get Ivan Toney, it improves us. Instead, we take a bit of a punt, some youth, and every kind of 4 or 5 players we sign, one of them is actually quite good, like Van de Ven or Romero, for example.
I think the only shining light on the whole Eze situation is the fact that he didn't play hardly any minutes at the Euros. Because if he had played plenty of minutes and showed potential, I think we wouldn't even be talking about Eze.
His price would go up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's the only shining light. And do you know what? We've already.
You're going to sign Eze?
No.
I think we can. I'm not sure that we will. Because
do you think we will?
If
they want a lot of money up front, I'm hearing Crystal Palace want a lot of the money up front.
Well, Travis Scott's just sold thousands of tickets. We're sure we've got the money in our pocket. It's fine. Jesus. If because he didn't play a lot of the Euros, I think it's a possibility. Yeah. But I'd just like to say though, I think we've already made a mistake with Archie Gray. Having seen the commentary from the Cambridge game and how he's not going to get that many minutes next season. I'll tell you why.
I told you this. I told everyone this.
Yeah, no, I know, but listen, this is the reason why. You bring him in, first game behind closed doors, and people can scream at him if you like, but we're already playing him out of position. We played him at right back. How many times do we have to say that he's not a right back? Even by his own admission in his Spurs interview, he says, I'm a central midfielder. Right? He played at right back for Leeds because of an exceptional circumstance that Leeds were in. They had no choice. And he did well there. He wasn't, an international right back, a world-class right back, but he did really, really well. We've already started him at right back. Why? Play him in the position he wants to play in. If he's going to be that generational and that good, it's just a joke.
Right, Lee, I asked this question last week, and this was basically to prove to fans Archie Gray's not playing week in, week out for this team. He's not. Who are you going to drop for him? Tell me who Ange is going to say, right, you're not playing because Archie Gray is in the midfield. Is he going to drop Is he going to drop Basuma? Is he going to drop Madison? Right, so he's not playing.
No. And he's not. And if we've bought him as a right back, which I don't naturally think he is, looking at the way that he plays, he ain't going to get in front of Porro. So what was the point?
Of course not.
£40 million for someone you're not going to play. That's the bit that bamboozles me. Nothing against him. I think he is a potential talent. He really is a potential talent, but you've got to see what he does at the top level. But £40 million and you're not going to play him. What's the point? Send him out somewhere. Get him game time. He's not going to learn anything sitting on the bench, is he?
I've got this funny feeling, right? I've got this funny feeling. Ange is here to set up the club for the next manager. I've got a funny feeling he's here to set up honestly, the way it's looking to me, he's here. Now, whether he knows this or whether he's going to find it out the Levy way. I think he's here to set out for the next manager. I don't think this is the only way I'll take back what I've said is if between now and the end of August, 3 top players come into this club that we know, not YouTube, players that we have to go on or go on PlayStation Championship Manager and look at the
stats. But even the next manager, they're going to come in. If their intention is to win, right, that they have to bring in players that are quality, right? When Poch was here,
we're a bit older though.
Yeah, absolutely. When Poch was here, he brought in. He had Dembele was one of his first signings, wasn't it? When he first came.
He was here. He got Wanyama, Toby Alderweireld, Kinmin.
No, Dembele was one of his first signings. Still,
no, Dembele was already here. He was already here.
Was he?
Yeah.
Anyway, he walked in and Dembele was there magically, right? But he was relatively new at the time, right? He got in Wanyama, right? Son came in, Dele Alli came in. Dele Alli obviously was a gamble, right? But he hit the ground running, didn't he? So I guess it wasn't so much of a gamble. Had Alderweireld, right? He bought in. So he bought in
Kyle Walker, Harry Kane, and Danny Rose. Those 3 were okay. He took them to a different level.
But he bought in real quality players, right? And they hit the ground running.
Well, Mitchell did, the new director at.
Well, there you go. And we're bringing in players that we've got no idea whether they're going to be any good or not. That's one of the issues. I'm all for bringing in young talent. I mean, who wouldn't be? I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? You want to bring in brilliant young talent, but I can't. I don't want to. I'm not going to repeat myself, but it's we've seen it all before.
Can I quickly bring up this one here? Right, these are my favourite comments. Big up to you, Jason. Make sure you smash the like. Stelios, the way you guys preach and lecture top managers, we're not preaching and lecturing. We're giving you our opinion. Top managers like Ange and football men like Levy, as if you have managed tens of clubs personally. Number 1, I work in football. I know a lot of people that work at Spurs. Number 2, and we said this last week, every single season, Jason, we're right. You can go onto channels that say trophies are coming, we're going to win the league, exciting times, and they can hype it all up, which is fine. I don't mind that, because you've got to be positive, but we're realistic. If we see the same patterns repeating, and if we can see that the fundamental key components that need to change aren't changing, guess what? For 10 years in a row, we've successfully predicted how the season ends. So for 10 years, a decade, we've been spot on. So we can talk about lecturing and preaching, but when you're right every year, where's the argument here? All those other Spurs commentators are wrong.
I think we've got eyes, right?
I loved it how the Spurs fan base lectured Mourinho and Conte on how to win.
We said keep Mourinho for the final. We said keep Mourinho for the final. We said don't sack Conte, back him. Give him what he wants. And guess what? We didn't. We sacked Mourinho, we lost the final. We didn't keep Conte. Where are we now? Same shit.
Those same fans that lectured Pochettino, rather than giving one of our best managers we've had in the last 20 years, a chance to fix things. No, we lectured him out of the club. Good one.
I honestly want to know.
And then same for wanting him back.
I honestly want to know what their base expects.
Oh, speak. Sorry.
For example, Brennan Johnson scored a hat trick. Okay, great. So you expected him to score 20 goals this season, or you expected that? I mean, I want to hear from people because, like I said, for me, right, I'm just being fair because of his contract. I'm like, okay, if we could get someone who can go straight into the 11 and have Brennan Johnson come from the bench, okay, I'll take that. But as of today, I'm going to speak of today, he started. And for me, at best, I'm being kind. I'm trying to be hopeful. Met type of player. So I whatever positive juice people have, pass it along. Whatever you're smoking or what, just pass it along because, like I said, I'm bored. I'm bored and I'm going to the first game. Going into the first game, trying as best to be hopeful, but I like this is like Stell says, it's like an instant replay over and over again, and this is supposed to be the important window because Ange says we're going to challenge, and I'm just like, oh really, Archie Gray?
Murray, if we sign Tony, Eze, Caravascalia, Zubamendi, for example,
Oh yeah,
I will shut my mouth because we would have done the things that I'm saying we've got to do to win trophies. And at the end of the season, if we don't get to a couple of cup finals or lift the Carabao Cup minimum, egg on my face. But if we don't do those things and we end up losing, the argument just gets stronger.
Yeah, but I don't know, still, because even with that, still, I'd rather us do what you said, but with Conte, not with Ange. I'd rather us do that with Mourinho, not with Ange.
Of course, but we can't now because they've gone. We've got to do it.
It's simple for us to see, though, isn't it? And we're just using our eyes. And even though we're like, I don't know what you said, we're preaching or something, I can probably say I saw what Timo Werner gave us last year, and I understood that he was on loan, and the fact that we've gone and got him back, I can tell you he's not going to succeed this next year. So the point of going and re-signing a loan player who was pretty much crap last season, what are we expecting? Are we expecting something different? It's going to be the same result, if not worse.
Especially with 2 games a week. Jason, just to answer your question, and it's the last one I'll do because it's not for everyone else in the chat, but hand over your heart, do you think sustained top 4 finishes in such a strong lead isn't any kind of achievement? It's an achievement for the owners who want to make money and what comes with it. Is it an achievement for a club that calls itself a Big 6 club who's supposed to win trophies? No, it's not. Top 4 for me is not an achievement. I would rather come 7th and win the FA Cup all day long, because for me that gets you back into Europe, the Europa Cup, and it's a trophy. So I think it's an achievement if you're into finance and banking and money and financials. If you're a football fan, how can a serious football fan consider top 4 an achievement? But each to their own. You asked me the question, that's my answer. Do any of you see top 4 as an achievement, guys? You look at top. Does anyone here look at top 4 and say, "Well done"?
Not really. You look at like the Arsenal and Man City and stuff like that. That's an expectation, right? That's what they're expected because of where they finish in the league. I don't think it's an achievement. Once you've got there once, it might be an achievement for someone like a Villa. I think they've achieved it quite well over the last couple of seasons. Or Nottingham Forest or something like that would be a fantastic achievement. But because once we got our foot in the door of the Champions League, from like 10 years ago, that's what the expectation is. That's where we should be around. So is it really achievement if you're expected to be around that level? Not really.
I mean,
and to add to that, Lee, as well, is even when we were really making top 4 consistently, we still didn't go out.
We weren't challenging in there, was we?
Yeah, no, but we still didn't go out and buy top quality players. Like, he allowed Poch to build his team, and then he never let him add to it. We went 2 seasons or longer without buying anyone in. So even when we got sustained top 4 and we were like finishing second and third, where was the risk taken to say, right, we're going to go for the league, let's buy in a top quality striker to complement Kane, or I don't know, some winger or whatever? It just never happened, did it? We just got Nkudus and Gs and God knows what else.
Only when we lost. That's why Paul Mitchell left the club, because when we started signing those players, it was against Paul Mitchell's wishes.
Yeah.
And that's why he said, this is a dream job that's become a nightmare, and he left the club.
Yeah.
That's when we just went down this. I don't know why we lost the plot, really. Maybe because there was financial
and
building the stadium.
That's like the really key point, though, isn't it? Still, like, who then, and we know who it is, but who then can override the expert? Like, who is going to pull Mitchell and saying, "Hold on a minute, I know what players are good, you don't." Like, who would do that?
Well, Levy, the guy that admitted in the actual Amazon program before he bought Tottenham, he barely knew anything about football. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Look, for me, I've pretty much accepted how this window is going to end. It's going to be underwhelming. If we sign Eze, it'll be the most amazing thing we've ever done. It won't fix the problem because we need 3 or 4 players of that caliber minimum for what we need in the squad. But if we sign 3 players of a household name quality, I will shut up next season, guys. I'll tell you now, I will shut my gob because that's what I've been preaching. That's what I've been asking for. That will be a significant change in direction for Spurs, something I've never seen us do, ever.
Mazzy's starting to sound like me. Sort it out with.
I agree with him. I really want that to happen. I don't want to go into the season feeling the way I'm.
It's not going to happen.
3 weeks ago, you would have said, that's never happened in 23 years.
No, I know it's not going to happen, right? I want that to happen. I don't want to go into the season being this negative about.
We've got to let it play out.
Spurs are. Yeah,
we've got to let it play out. We have to let it play out. That's how it works. Because then,
listen, the thing that worries me, Stel, you'll know this as being a coach, right? And I've been in similar positions over the last three years as well. It's all well and good, but we're now already into pre-season, right? The games are coming up thick and fast. We're going away. We're flying here and there and everywhere. It's all well and good saying we're going to get these players in, but we've got absolutely no time to bed them in the team. So they need to be players that basically just walk in, they take the reins. They're going to say, right, this is my position. This is where I'm playing. This is how we're going to structure this team. Bang, bang, bang. Otherwise, we are going to be a team of individuals that no one knows how to play as a team.
Again.
Lee, what did Ed said? I want the players in early enough to get it. I mean, big up to Sava. He said this. Are the players that we're interested? Are they on the Spain team or they're on the England team? Because I guess we're waiting for those last 2 teams to play. All right, let's go. Let's sign some quality players. Let's do this because Edge needs them in. Our first preseason game is in a couple of days.
Hold on, Stel. Bring that comment up by R79 Explosive. Just come in.
That's a joke, mate. That you ain't.
This is where we've got to come back down to reality. Nico Williams was brilliant. I agree. We should be all over him. Why would he want to come to Spurs? He's literally just put himself in a shop window.
You can pick any club. Literally,
play one of the better players in there.
But in his defence, in R7 Explosives, what a name? I'm just going to call you R79. In R79's defence, we should be all over him. We should still try, shouldn't we?
We were linked to him,
but we never do.
We're not going to get. We
never do.
Yeah, but we don't even give it a go, Lee. We don't even try.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to look at reality and go, well, let's be honest, we got nothing to offer the boy.
That's true.
We've got nothing to offer him. And we're not going to pay his wages.
Brendan Johnson.
We're never going to pay his wages.
Richarlison up front.
You're right. By the way, can I just shout out the hashtag blame Kane banter in the chat tonight? It's hilarious.
That is all Mr. Woo!
Woo! Yeah, Phil P started it. Swifties with the line of the night. Me not getting sex. Hashtag blame Kane.
The best one was JP.
Mark Swift on fire.
JP.
Phil P's torn the chat up tonight. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love Phil P. He's great.
I do.
About the tablecloth or something.
Yeah. JP using his tablecloth as a shirt. Blame Kane.
I do like this thing about top 4 for me. It's so frustrating because Pochettino got us top 4 every season, and he got us to a Champions League final. And he did challenge for a league, and we fell short. What was the point of sacking him if we're not gonna not replicate what Poch did, but go further? The top four can't be seen as an achievement because Redknapp did
Because
that. Poch did that.
The
Poch-
and then
fans
got
made
sacked.
noise, didn't it?
Got
Poch
sacked
was an
because he wasn't-
accident, Stell.
But-
Poch
but no,
was an accident.
But Maz, my point is this: those managers who got top four, the achievement, they got sacked in the end because that wasn't good enough. So if you're going to sack those managers because we just, we've got to do more, then how can we look at top four as an achievement? Why sack those managers then?
Yeah, but Poch wasn't in the position to get top four that season. He got sacked, was he?
Yeah, but JP, my point is, if you're going to sack managers that get top four, then surely you want managers that are going to go a bit further with the resources we've got now. So we shouldn't look at top four as an achievement because all that does is replicate past failures. Poch failed.
I agree with you.
These managers
What we wanted when we got Mourinho in was for him to take us to that next level, right?
Not top four winning.
trophies. But what did he
Yeah.
do? He didn't allow him to win the trophy or have a chance of winning the trophy. All right, and obviously you had COVID and all of that stuff. But then he brings in a Nuno. I mean, what on earth was Paratici thinking when he brought in Nuno? Like, what on earth was he thinking? What, he saw one good game from Nuno, was it Villarreal, whoever he was managing in Spain? That one game where he attacked, it's like, yeah, he'll bring us attacking football.
He can play attacking football. Honest, look.
He made us proud.
Yeah. You know,
No,
and then just when you think, okay, they've changed, they brought in Conte, what did they do after that blinding 6 months? Conte came in, dragged us into top four, and we were playing good football then. I actually really enjoyed the first season that Conte was in. I really thought that we were going to do something next year. And what do we do? Richarlison.
But that's the thing, Maz. That was a perfect time to kick on, wasn't it? He got top four. We're in the Champions League. We've got Conte as the manager.
Everyone was on a high. Everyone was on board.
Boom. Let's go.
You know, we had a prime. Kula at the time was playing really well. Bentancur was looking really. You know, those two players were looking brilliant, right? We had the perfect springboard. And what did we do? And that's why I genuinely think he down tools. I really believe it. He saw Spence come in, Richarlison, and etc. etc. He might have agreed to have Richarlison come in, but you could just tell he was unhappy from the very first game of the season. He was not a happy manager. And I know he's got form with being like that, but he could see it from a mile off. Anyway, I'm positive. I'm just saying, positive. We got Gray, so we're going to challenge this year. I'm sure of it.
I just want to say to Ryan Gloria, Brighton fan, big up. Spurs fans sacked Poch. Levy had no choice but to bend. If Levy does what the fan says, then he's not fit to be the chairman because he's not running the club in the best interest of the club. He just does what the fans said. Because when the fans wanted Arteta out, what did the Cronkies do? They said, no, we run the club. We've got a plan. So you've got one chairman that's emotional and does what the fans say, if we're going to go with what you've said, Ryan. And then you've got another chairman who doesn't do what the fan says, and Arsenal now challenging for league titles. So I don't think you can blame fans for a decision that a man who gets paid £3.5 million a year chooses to do. He gets paid for a reason, to make corporate decisions and to bring success to his club. So
he is listening to the fans. I think he is listening to the fans because honestly, that just buys him another 4 years of mediocre crap. And look, I've listened to you. I've got rid of
he doesn't, JP, because the fans chanted Levy out for a whole season. He never left.
No, but what did he do? Change the manager.
Yeah, but that's what we asked.
Conte was blah blah, and he went. Oh, we've got our Tottenham back. We'll go and get a manager that plays attractive football, and I've done my job for another 4 years.
But the fans said Levy out. Levy out. We get out of Tottenham.
Is he out? So he hasn't gone anywhere.
That's my point. He doesn't listen to the fans then. That's the point I'm making. He does what he wants.
Selective hearing, my friend. I'll listen to the fans. Oh, you call my name, I ain't going nowhere, brother. You just
Listen, he sacked Poch because he knew he would have to stump up the cash to rebuild. He brought him, and Mourinho was available. He thought, yeah, I can win a trophy with this guy and shut everyone up. And then, like a moron, he sacks him before the cup final, and then shit really turned on him. And the whole Conte thing was an absolute. The only reason he sacked Conte is because Conte came out and told the world the truth. And Levy completely had an ego-sensitive
shit show.
breakdown. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle that Conte told Levy who he really is in his press room, in the Spurs.
I think the only thing I disagree still is by saying it's not that. I don't think it's because he didn't think he'd have to pay more money. He went through 2-3 transfer windows without spending any money, buying anyone under Poch's tenure, and Poch accepted it. So he could get away with not spending any money. And Poch as a manager was accepting it.
Pot, in my opinion, Poch should have walked out because Chelsea, they tried to pull the same stunt with Poch.
He's learned now, right? He's learned
his lesson, and good on him for that. I was actually impressed with Poch walking out of Chelsea because it's, am I in charge or are you in charge when it comes to the team? And Chelsea said, well, we kind of run the transfers. See you later.
I'm not doing this anymore. Yep.
That's my only criticism of Poch, and actually Harry Kane as well. Harry Kane should have left us years ago. That's my only criticism of those two in terms of showing ambition. Because if Poch was ambitious and Kane was more ambitious, I think they would have left. But at the same time, they were good people. They wanted to show some loyalty. Kane and Poch had a connection with the fans. And I think they were both torn between, I'm here for you guys, but I can't work for this guy. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do because if I walk out, you're going to turn on me. And I think they were caught in that conundrum. In the end, Kane's contract ran out and Poch got fired.
Yep.
It's everything's in Andrew's hands in how he is now as a individual and a manager. And so far this summer he's proving not to be the real deal. He's proving anything but. And it saddens, it saddens me, to think that I called this out, to be honest, and I'm not wrong because I really wanted to be wrong. All I want is to buy good players in, right, to get rid of the dead wood and for us to kick on properly. But he signs Timo Werner.
I mean, it's just unbelievable, man. Like that Timo Werner signing is going to come back to bite us. He'll probably have a purple patch. Everyone will get hyped up, tell us that we're wrong, and then come April, May, Timo Werner will run into a brick wall and cost us a couple of games that cost us any kind of glory, and then we'll be sitting here on the 31st of May saying, "Yeah."
Well, Sava said a brilliant point earlier today. We've got Johnson, Son, Werner, Kulusevski, Solomon up front. That's 5 positions for those 3 places, right? That means that we have to bring in 1 additional player forward, which will probably be Eze. But that also means that Solomon's probably going to stay because we're not going to sign 2 brilliant forwards. Like if we signed a Tony and an Eze, but there's history doesn't tell us that we're going to do that. If we do, it'll be amazing. So just that Turbo Wiener signing has really caused us issues because that's another space filled up. It's sort of the same thing with Gray. Another space filled up, £40 million on a youngster, and he's more than likely not going to get that much game time. So that's another space filled up in the squad, which means that we're not going to bring in possibly another defender or another midfielder unless Højbjerg leaves, and then it's like a 1-in, 1-out scenario. In which case, I can't see these 7-8 things that I identified a little bit earlier on being resolved. There's too many things. There's too many moving parts.
I think there's 2 more signings, 2 more outgoings, and 2 more signings, and for me that's not enough. That's not enough. I was never the belief we were going to bring in 9 or 8 players. Not going to happen. At least 5 or 4. I honestly think we're going to bring in 2 more players. I'm just being honest.
The issue is as well is that we're going to have essentially the same midfield as what we did last year, and that will be criminal because they really struggled. Second, in 2024 we were relegation form almost, so we were like 16th in the form table with that team, with that 11.
And I'm sorry, Basuma was a big disappointment. I mean, getting rid of him would have been hard. At least bring in someone to challenge him, because I was very, very disappointed with Basuma, his demeanor, how he played the last couple of months. I mean, it was just, for me, atrocious, and he didn't really care. And now I seen the other day, pictures with Travis Scott and stuff. I'm like, man, I hope you're working your ass off, because you need to apologize to the fans, let alone to your teammates, because that dude was just, the last 5 months, not good. Not good at all.
Do you know what? The reality is this, okay? You can go online and see everyone talking about, we should get that. We're linked to this player. We're in talks with this player. You can listen to all the journalists on shows and journalists on Twitter and all the ITKs. None of them have got a clue who we're going to sign. Not a single one of them has a didgeridoo. It's waffle, it's gossip. There's no credibility to back anything they say. Not one of them, not a single one of them said Spurs are in for Archie Gray. They're going to get him. It just came out of nowhere. None of them told that. So how are these people in the know? What gives them any right to talk as if there's some kind of superior power on transfers?
And to add to that, still,
they're definitely going to sign Timo Werner. That's going to be their first. It's farcical, man. What
Nobody
is
to add to that,
really.
you've got
shocking.
Alistair Gold, the mouthpiece of Tottenham Hotspur, feeding the narrative.
Yeah.
Everything that comes out of that guy's mouth just feeds the narrative of what Spurs want. And I think he's the worst now. I really think he's the biggest culprit of why a lot of fans think this way.
Do you know what he did? Do you know what he did? He basically, towards the end, as the season ended, he put out these stats. Timo Werner, number 1 for dribbles, most crosses in Europe. He put out all these metrics. Do you know what? I know it might sound strange, guys, but I think this might be, we should sign him. I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Worst for scoring goals, worst big misses other than Brennan Johnson, worst for shooting accuracy. He's an attacking forward and his shooting is horrendous. Like literally, I don't say that word for drama. He's horrendous. Why have you ignored all those stats? Where are you going with this, Ali? And now I know why he did it. The club wanted him to plant those seeds so fans think, yeah, Timo's good.
Well, and it's the same thing with all the youngsters.
When we signed Timo, everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's good, isn't he? No.
It's the same thing now with all the youngsters, though, isn't it? It's like he's saying, oh, yeah, he's coming in. This young player's that. There's a real project happening with the youth, and Andrew's going to do this. And he's really, feeding the fans a narrative for them to run with this season, so everything stays quiet.
Completely disregarding every Chelsea fan laughing at us saying, why are you buying or why are you signing Timo Werner, and the fact that he was 4th choice at Leipzig. 4th choice. Oh, sorry, it was Leipzig, wasn't it? But 4th choice. Yeah. And then wonder why it's easy to get him. It's not because he's good. It's because he's got nowhere else to go.
Even Ange said that, Lee, didn't he? He goes, oh, if we were scoring loads of goals, we wouldn't have got him.
I mean, I don't get it.
And
He's not.
let's be honest. If he went to any other top 6 club, we would be laughing. I certainly would.
Yeah, I would. We all laughed at him. And just to go back to Stel's point about the social media stuff as well, right? And I know Second Wheel, who seems to be the guy, he's in all the Savas videos as well.
Will
Follows him
is
around.
clearly someone who hasn't got the come on our show, although everyone's welcome.
Yeah, I know.
Or
But
another YouTuber who's using it as a troll account, and
yeah,
he helps the channel grow. You help the algorithm. So thank you,
Yeah.
Second Wheel.
I truly hope that it is the case that we are doing everything behind closed doors, because some of the absolute drivel that I've seen coming out in social media and stuff like that,
Shocking.
and the other, and that, funnily enough, very quiet on Tottenham channels today, isn't it? Very quiet. The biggest thing that I can't stand is when. Listen, not calling out other channels, because I do watch other channels. I've got nothing against all the guys on there, but when we're doing videos every day about we're linked to this player, we're linked to this player. There was one day, I think it was on Thursday or Friday last week, where there was 2 channels putting out videos saying, one of them saying, we're leading the race for Doué, and then another channel saying, no, Doué's, blah blah blah. And it was like, well, you can only be one or the other. It can't be both. So you're obviously just doing all of this for clicks. But then you get the likes of Romero coming out saying the only club Doué wants to go to is Bayern Munich. The only reason he's not there right now is because that Bayern Munich can't agree with his club about the price and how the payments are going to go. That's it. He's got no interest. Never once in any of his posts about the player did he ever mention the word Spurs. So therefore, we're not in the leading race for him. We've never been linked to him. We've never made an offer for him. So it's the biggest load of drivel I've ever heard in my life. Same with Calafiori. How many channels and how many people in chats were I seeing, oh, yeah, we're going to go in for Calafiori, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Romano, not one single post over a week ever mentioned Spurs once. Chelsea, Arsenal. Never mentioned Spurs, because it's all made up rubbish.
Just one or two of you in the chat. Don't bring in people's ethnic backgrounds and religions. You will be blocked, and you have been. 2 things. Don't bring in politics. Don't bring in religion. It's football. Opinions, go for it. But religion and politics, it just gets messy, guys. I think Calafiori will probably end up at Arsenal personally. I think they will end up doing a deal there, and I'll be gutted because I think he's as a left and right back. I actually think he's really, really good. I know he can play centre back as well, but if you look at a lot of the games he's played, he's in that wing back role. He's very good forward, really good, and I think that suits us the way we play. So let's see. They haven't signed him yet. I could be wrong on that. Do you guys think that it's important that we get our business done like now, like ASAP? Or are you okay? Murray, let me tell you why I asked this, because Van der Ven, we only signed him just before the start of the season. He didn't have any pre-seasons with us. Yet he came in and hit the ground running. So is it a case that actually, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter if we sign you in 3 weeks' time instead of now? Or must it be now for you?
I'm also believe you want to do it now because you want to be off. You want to have a good preseason and want to get off to a good start. I know we got off to the first 10-game start, but eventually the cream rise to the top in regards to our team. It's always best to have your players come in the beginning of preseason because you have a better cohesive team, a better start. Last year was more of an anomaly. Really, really was. And I think the norm is you want to get your players in early so you can have a good cohesion between the team, players, chemistry, the tactics. I think it would be best.
Yeah, I agree with Mari, and I really think that fans, a lot of the fan base has forgotten that our form in 2024 had us 16th. And the way you fix that is not by bringing in loads of young kids that are 18, 19 years old that have never played in the Prem. So you would have thought that they would go out, get quality players in early to help address the bad form that we finished this year in 2024, because that's a major problem. I think that we had such a good start that it hid the problems we had in the second half of the season massively. So we need quality players in sharp, because if we're going to go out with the same team, honestly, I fear for how we're going to start this season. And another thing as well, we don't know how Ange's going to change his tactics going into this season.
Can I show you guys something?
Tactics, yeah, go on.
I just want to quickly show you something, man. We're talking about players, right, and tactics. This is a chart of. Let me just get the banner off the bottom of the screen so I can. So this is the number of dribbles attempted and the percentage success. Now, if you look at Tottenham, we are in the top left corner, which means we have taken the 4th most attempted dribbles, and we are the 16th most successful at it. So Tottenham, when it comes to dribbles and success, we're one of the worst in the one of the worst. Right? Facts, people, facts. Now, that's with Brennan Johnson, Rizevsky, Timo Werner, Richarlison's, put the wing backs in there as well, Son, with those players. So anyone who doesn't think we need to sign proven quality that can take on players and create, i.e. an Eze, then the data goes against that. We desperately need players that can successfully take on their man. We don't have it. We are, I think, the 5th worst in the league. That's shocking. So, and just imagine if we did have that, what it would do for our attacking side of the game.
Yeah, but and also still, and I'll be interested to get Lee's and yours opinion on this, is what is Ange going to do tactically? Because let's face it, a lot of the teams sussed Ange out, and that's why we did so bad in 2024, because we got sussed out, and the players got sussed out.
I'll tell you what, Maz, and this has been my opinion since the end of last season. His tactics against City and the last game of the season, which was Sheffield United, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Those two games is where he dropped the line about 10 yards. And I've always said the line, playing on the halfway line is just absolutely ridiculous, especially against teams that have got quick players. It's madness. And that's where we got sussed out. Those 2 games gave me hope that he's tweaked and went, actually, do you know what? This is the Premier League. I can't play the way that I usually do. I need to tweak it slightly, because I think we look much better then, because then it also pulls out the midfield, which just gets too congested, and it opens up the space a little bit. If he takes that into the new season as a tweak to his way of playing, then, and we get a few players that can play in those positions, then yeah, I think he can. But we know how stubborn he is. That's my worry. He's, people say, oh, he's stubborn, he won't do it, he wants to do it this way, he won't do it that way. Well, if that's the case, then surely if we end up in 4 weeks' time with a couple of youngsters and the same players that we've got right now, literally everyone in the Premier League knows how to beat us. They know the tactic to beat us. It's really simple. Wolves did it. We've got lower level teams doing it, making us look stupid. That he's got to change. He's got to tweak that. Otherwise, we're just going to be back to last year.
In a way, maybe that's a bigger problem than bringing in signings. just his tactics.
I hope he won't be. I hope he saw the light in those last 2 games and said, you know what, that's how we're going to set up next season.
The thing is, though, it's not as if he's brought in quality coaches to help the problems either.
No, he hasn't. By the way, Stick and Will, I've banned you. I don't know what account you are, but talking about crapping in people's mouths and bringing up Sean Butler and all that. Listen, bro, You're not happy here. You're just here to dump on everything we say. I hope I've freed you and you find happiness elsewhere. I know you're going to lose your mind. You're desperately going to want to type and speak, but you've lost that privilege because you just can't behave. The coaching thing for set pieces, we must fix. Because that was an abomination under Ange. We actually, and do you know what the worst thing of all is? We actually had a top person in. Conte had a top man in place for that. We were really good at it. And then it's almost like, yeah, see you later, Ryan. And it was
Too good. You're too good for us. You
You're
need to leave.
too good for us.
Who was that failed footballer from Crystal Palace that we brought in as a coach?
Oh, Jedinak.
Oh my god.
He's still there, isn't he? Is he still there?
Like, Yedi crap.
Yeah, the one with the
Yeah, the beard.
beard and
Yeah,
he's
still there.
Jedinak's there, yeah.
Yeah,
You see,
so
that's
still there. There you go.
But we've also haven't we also got the manager who got sacked from like Hibernian or something?
Yeah, after he failed in his.
That's a bit of a boys' club, I think. That's a bit of a boys' club, bringing in, people from
Bringing in your best mate failed coaches.
put them on the payroll. Joe, you say and tactics aren't to dribble; it's pass and move. Sorry, but if you look at the attacking wide players, they do need to dribble.
Well, you don't have to look at Celtic.
No. See, this is a myth.
There you go.
Any team that plays possession-based football, you still need dribblers. And if you need dribblers, is because you're not always going to get the overload. You're not always going to get 5 against 4 or 4 against 3. There's going to be situations where you've got 4 on 4 or 5 or 5 of you against 6 of the opposition. If you look at Spain, look at how their wide players, especially Williams, always took on the man, always tried to beat the man. Every team needs some players that Messi was one of the best dribblers in the world when at his peak, and he played in the best passing team. Pep's Barcelona was the best tiki-taka, possession-based, pass and move team, yet Messi was a dribbler. Xavi and Iniesta could dribble as well. So I don't buy that when people will say Ange's tactics isn't to dribble. That's rubbish. Every manager needs a dribbler. Every manager. Saka, he's a dribbler. Martinelli is a dribbler. Whether he's as good as Saka, different story. Jack Grealish, he's a dribbler. Foden, he can dribble. If you can't dribble, you can't keep. Do you know what? Here's something for you guys. If you want to teach players how to be great passers, teach them to dribble when they're young. And I tell you why. If you can beat a man 1-on-1, that means you can keep possession of the ball under pressure.
Yeah.
If you then teach that player how to pass and move, it's so easy. If you can teach a dribbler how to pass and move, take someone that can pass and teach them how to dribble. It's impossible. But Barcelona, when they taught tiki-taka, like in England, we often, Lee, you know this. You're teaching your boys and you say to them, pass to him, he's in space. Pass to the player in space. Barcelona don't do that. They teach their players, pass to him who's marked, because if he can receive the ball under pressure and keep the ball under pressure, that's the player I want in the big games, because he will not lose possession of the ball. Whereas you look at Brennan Johnson, he's only good when he's in space, like Werner. Well, guess what? When you're up against a low block, they're fucking useless because they can't beat a man. That's why Xavi and Iniesta became the 2 best midfielders, arguably, we've ever seen.
That's why Modric and Dembele were incredible.
I'm just looking at
they were taught to receive the ball under pressure, marked, and beat the man. And then guess what? Passing's easy after that. It's so simple to teach.
Look at this: a 6-year-old, now 7-year-old Yamal just dribble and have the intelligence at the age of 17 to know when to pass, know when to score, know when to dribble, take on your man, when to cut, when not to cut. At the age of 16, to have that intelligence, it's like jaw dropping. Like, wow. And then you have Brennan Johnson, where it's like he looks like he's gonna shit in his pants. When he's in that position, I mean, it's extraordinary. And I'm like, man, I wish we had that in our club. Like,
Mari, Gareth Bale was a dribbler. Look what he did for us.
Oh yeah,
Look what he brought to this club.
yeah. And
Even when he came back. Even when
we
he
talked
came back, right?
we talked about Kane. I remember those moments where we needed something. He's dribbling, taking the game by this rough, cut in the middle, and left foot, wham, equalizer or game winner. And I miss it. I miss that. I miss that. Like literally, I miss it.
Aaron Lennon.
Yeah, Lennon. Yeah. Defoe, dribbling, running speed.
It's amazing how the quality of our
4 or 5
players
years
we're
ago.
bringing in is getting
Yeah,
worse.
5 years ago. Yeah, that beautiful
Son,
run
4 or 5 years ago, dribbler.
against the goal of the season. Yeah, yeah.
Frederick Canute.
Bergwell's meant to be, isn't he? So let's see.
But Bergvall is he? Listen, Bergvall will be able to beat a man. There's no doubt. If you've got the thing is, JP, do you know what? I don't want to go off YouTube videos. I need to watch him.
You can't. We need to see him still. We need to see him.
I need to see him.
Different levels.
Listen, I've seen him. I've watched him play, and you're absolutely right, Stel. He can do that, but it's a different question when you're doing that on a Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. in the Premier League. That's the biggest thing. Coming up against Sheffield United players who want to do nothing more than to take your legs away, that's a completely different kettle of fish than playing in European leagues where they have more time on the ball. You got more chance of catch. You know what I mean? It's a completely different style of play, and that's where we need to see him. And maybe we'll see it on Saturday against QPR. QPR, one of those type of teams, right? They're proper.
We're playing Hearts
English.
on Wednesday. We're playing Hearts on Wednesday.
What are we? Oh, okay. I thought it was after that. All right, okay. So,
No,
but I think QPR would be a better fit because they're a kind of, QPR against Tottenham. QPR are going to be up for that, properly up for that, and they're not going to be like the type of team that from, South Korea or someone like that. It's just there for an exhibition. That's a proper 2 English teams playing. You want to see, people. Seeing what they're going to be up against next season. That's the kind of games that you want to play. That's why I don't think we should be going away for pre-season. I think it's all just marketing and media, all that kind of stuff.
Lee,
get some
money.
Lee, take this question and then we'll wrap up the show because I've actually got I've got to jump off for 11. So, Tommy, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Boys, quick question: do you think there's a possibility that players can be frustrated with playing with the lack of playing time? Dragusin, for example, and then Ange loses the players."
Absolutely, and this is why I say my opinion is that Dragusin was a replacement for Romero if Romero's off, because I can't see any player that's being pulled in by Bayern coming to Tottenham without being told you're going to play and then not getting the minutes. Of course they're going to get frustrated. I think his own agent has been spreading the balls around, isn't he, on social media, saying, "Oh yeah, we went there and he's not getting the minutes," all this kind of stuff, trying to stir the pot. So absolutely. But the problem is a lot of the players that we've got, those that are good enough, there's no one snapping at their heels to take their position for them to even worry about not getting minutes. Who else is there in the Timo Werner, guy sitting on the bench doing 165k a week? I'm sure he's happy not to be playing minutes. Sure, he's absolutely fine.
Boys and girls, and any other sexual orientations that you may. There's so many nowadays. I'm gonna have to come. There you go, Maury. Final words, brother. Just so everyone knows, we are going to do a show Wednesday evening after the Spurs Hearts game. We've got another show on Saturday after the. I moved to Sunday because Sava's doing a 24-hour charity stream. So I'll promote that as well. Check out Sava's 24-hour charity stream. A lot of us will be on that during the day. On Sunday, we'll be live again talking about the QPR game, which is being played on a Saturday. Mari, I think, is bringing back his show this week. And then starting next Tuesday, I'll be live with Stefan once every 2 weeks, doing a bit of an Arsenal-Tottenham topic, just us doing like a 1 hour quick show. And Matt, I'm not able to do the Friday shows anymore at 5 o'clock because of my work arrangements have changed. But Matt will either start coming on Mondays or I'll have a new show with Matt at some point. But just so people know, we've got a lot of shows coming up now. The season's beginning to ramp up. Check it all out. Just go hit the notification bell on the channel and get a warning whenever it's on. Mari, you can talk about your show when it's starting up and say it.
Yeah. North London is ours. Is coming back. We're gonna talk about what does Tottenham needs, what does Arsenal need, what are our expectations going into the next going into new season. So it's gonna be awesome. We'll have the usual crazies on panel, so it should be great and good to be back. And just final words is that I love international play, and so like I said, happy to see Argentina won, and gutted for England, but now we're 100% fully concentrated on Spurs, and I'm just waiting, play the waiting game, see who we sign. Just it's like watching paint dry. So yeah.
Eugene in the chat, big up tomorrow, by the way. Eugene in the chat, you're not catching strays. It's you literally say the opposite of everything. I feel like you do it on purpose. But yeah, it's all love. You don't get rude, so it's fine. JP, say your good night.
What's happening? We're going to start doing 10-minute videos every 10 minutes on who Spurs are linked with over the next couple of weeks.
That's a lot of videos.
We're in talks with, we're in discussions with, we're monitoring, we
fancy. saw him in a magazine.
Nah, I mean, kind of like hopefully once news starts picking up, we'll start doing a bit more videos that are probably have some substance behind him rather than just churning out garbage. But if not, we look forward to hearing the signings now that the Euros are over. And it's getting to Spurs time now, so get it on.
Yeah, we're getting there. Season's almost upon us. I think it starts in 3.5 weeks, something like that. Or is it?
It's like 30 odd days or something, you know? 35 days or something.
Well, pre-season's here. And Lee, I was about to say, I think the Olympics might be a distraction because some players might be going to the Olympics. Lee?
I don't think Romero's going, though, is he? I think he wanted to go, but he's not going now. He hasn't been picked for the team, apparently. So he'll be back with us.
How about Anne said no, didn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Nothing much left to say from me except for hashtag blame Kane.
Just for
say no to Stel everything. Say no to what? What have I said that we say no to? Everything. All right.
No
I love you. Soy uno dorito. Say no to that. I love you. I'll give up. By the way, George, you're asking if North London is ours is going to be back on. Mari just mentioned it.
Yes.
Just mentioned it. Okay. Big up the Hotspur Hood. By the way, check out Dan's channel. Good content creator. Make sure you subscribe to the Hotspur Hood as well. Maz, your final positive words of energizing enthusiasm for the club.
I'm really looking forward to the amazing signings that are going to come in the next month. I'm expecting at least 4 major announcements. I think our new youth project is really positive and something to look forward to in the next 10 years. So I'm really looking forward to
Project
that.
Youth.
And I can't wait to see Turbo Wiener ripping up the Premier League and scoring at least 10 to 15 goals and setting up another 10 to 15 assists in the season and getting his place back into the German team and helping us win a cup.
All I'm going to say is for all of you out there that just can't handle my views or opinions, look, all you got to do is encourage Daniel Levy to find 3 proven quality players and I will be silent. Or win a trophy at the end of the season. I will be silenced.
Win something.
So all we got to do that. And there you go.
They always let you down still.
They always let you down.
John, Will be back. I know we've said it a few times, but look, he's got a lot going on that's far more important than football in Tottenham, and he's got to manage that. So just be respectful, give him time, he'll be back, right? And that's all we're going to say. Big up to all you guys. Great stroke Messi, that's right. The future is here. Guys, thanks for watching as always. Smash like, subscribe. Thank you for being part of the channel tonight. We're back on Wednesday. Mari will be back this week as well. JP, we did some videos. We're back on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. There's a lot going on this week. Keep your eyes open for it all. Good night. God bless. Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.